Why do I need to know about chemical hazards? Because 25 million American workers are exposed to chemical hazards every day. Many of today's chemicals threaten your safety, your health. Unless properly handled, many chemicals can cause injury or death due to fire, explosion, or other serious accident. Overexposure to certain chemicals can cause serious health problems, including injuries and disabling illnesses. How do I know if a chemical is dangerous? It is the job of chemical manufacturers and importers to review all available scientific evidence on chemicals and their hazards. This means that each chemical you use is studied for its potential to injure or harm you. Report information about potential dangers to users of these chemicals. You and your employer should be able to rely on this information about chemical hazards. How do I get information on chemical hazards? Your employer has a program for getting information on chemical hazards to you. This information is given to you in 3 important ways. Container labels. In the workplace, containers of hazardous chemicals must carry special warning labels. Material safety data sheets. These describe the hazards of the chemicals you use on the job. They're developed for each chemical by its manufacturer or importer. Employee training and information. Your employer will tell you about the Hazard Communication Program and train you to handle hazardous chemicals safely. Container labels. All containers of hazardous chemicals in the workplace must be labeled, tagged, or marked with the identity of the chemical or product. The label also tells you the name and address of the chemical's manufacturer or other responsible party. It's written in easy-to-read English, plus other languages if desired, and displayed where you can easily see it. Warn you of the particular hazards of the chemical. This warning may be words, pictures, or symbols that tell you about the hazards you face. How to read and interpret labels. Chemical warning labels may include this information. Identity of the chemical, a code number, chemical, or trade name. Signal word, telling you the degree of the hazard. Caution, warning, or danger. Hazard statement, telling you the major hazards you face. Extremely flammable, or harmful if inhaled. Precautions, what to do to avoid injury or illness. Avoid breathing, or wash thoroughly after handling. Instructions in case of exposure. First aid information telling you what to do if you're exposed to a chemical. Antidotes, measures that can be used by a medical layperson to counteract the effects of chemical exposure. Fire, spill, leak instructions, how to put out or control fires, clean up leaks or spills. Notes to physician, information for physicians in case someone is exposed to a chemical. Handling and storage instructions, special procedures for handling and storing chemical containers. How to read and interpret material safety data sheets. An MSDS gives you detailed information on a chemical and its hazards. This MSDS has identifiers, hazardous ingredients, permissible exposure limits, physical data, fire and explosion data, health hazard data, reactivity data, spill or leak procedures, special protection, and special precautions. What can I do to protect myself from chemical hazards? You can prevent accidental exposure to hazardous chemicals. Follow these basic procedures. Practice safe work habits. Obey all safety rules. Never take shortcuts when handling, using, storing, or transporting hazardous chemicals. Be informed. Hazard communication is for your protection. Make the most of it. Know how to use the available information on chemical hazards. Use personal protective equipment. Make sure you use the right protective clothing and equipment and that it fits properly. Follow proved practices for cleaning and storing, and report any damaged equipment. Know emergency procedures. Learn how to use first aid supplies, eye wash, and emergency showers. Know emergency alarm signals and procedures. Know first aid procedures. Poisoning, inhaled. Remove victim to fresh air. Give artificial respiration if breathing has stopped. Perform CPR if breathing and pulse have stopped and if you're properly trained. Chemical burns. Immediately flush exposed skin with water. Continue for 15 to 20 minutes. Don't scrub. Remove contaminated clothing. Cover burn with sterile dressing. Don't apply ointments or neutralizing solution. Flush eye for at least 15 minutes if exposed to chemicals. Shock. Check for symptoms including clammy, pale skin, rapid, faint pulse, quick, irregular breathing, weakness, nausea. Treat causes of shock, stopped breathing, burns, etc. Keep victim quiet and lying down with feet slightly elevated unless victim has difficulty breathing. Place victim on side if unconscious. Do not move victim if you suspect a neck or spine injury unless absolutely necessary. Cover only enough to maintain body heat. Seek medical help promptly for all medical emergencies.